How much should you charge, or how much should a designer charge? Hello everyone, welcome back to Space for Edit. My name's Cynthia, I am an interior designer, and on this channel I share all my experience of what it really is like to be an interior designer, and along the way I give you some tips and tricks to really improve your productivity and your workflow skill set as an interior designer. So hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it to get notified whenever new videos come out. Today's topic is actually quite a spicy one, if I must say so, because we are talking about money, we are talking about getting paid, and I feel like this subject, the money, the getting paid subject, is getting quite popular, which is a brilliant thing because we don't really often talk about how much we're getting paid and how much design services should cost, and it's always kind of a deal made behind closed doors, but it shouldn't. I thought it was about time we discussed the design fees of an interior designer. So this video should be quite helpful if you are an interior designer yourself, or maybe you are looking for an interior designer and kind of looking around and getting a bit confused of what the actual costs are of an interior design service. So hopefully this video will bring in some clarity and add value to our services. Right, so to really understand how the fees stack up, we really need to break it down, take it back, and understand what designers do. So what we're going to do first is look at the three main stages of an interior design process. After that, we are going to allocate some money for it, and at the end of it, we will understand what these fees consist of. So without further ado, let's get going. Let's get paid. Yes, bitch, but have my money. Right, let's talk. So the first stage is the concept design stage. Designers usually start the stage by the initial client meeting and a briefing session. I do have a video on tips on how to have a successful client meeting, so I'll link that up somewhere in the corner. So go and check it out if you need more tips on that. Then we follow up with a site survey, which is basically taking any measurements, any notes, any photos, videos. Now, a good practice, in my opinion, is always to have the briefing session, the initial meeting, and the site survey on the same day. It just makes more sense that you are walking through the space, you can understand what's not working, what the client is visualizing, and what the ideas are. And maybe, if you're feeling a bit generous, you can kind of add in little bits of ideas everywhere, but be careful because you do not want to give away all of your trick. Then the biggest chunk of this stage is obviously the concept design proposal and the research that goes into it. So the concept proposal is built around the brief that you have given to the designer, plus any added extras that the designer has noticed, because obviously that's why you are hiring a professional to do this. The designer sees a lot more and approaches the project from a lot of different angles, and the client is not supposed to know all that. So all of that information should be included in this proposal. Visually, what you should get is few options of floor plans. Obviously, concept proposal should always include some visual material. It should have either mood boards or concept presentations with multiple slides to sort of just draw the outline of the proposed design. And to wrap up the concept design stage, it is also important to allocate enough time to some back and forth conversation, because obviously a big part of the stage is the creative process and kind of doing the research and coming up with the proposal, but then a big part of it is also the negotiation process, and this takes time, and time is money, so include that in your fee proposal if you haven't yet. Next stage is design development. Now at this stage, the designer should really feel comfortable about what has been proposed, as everything from now on will be based and built on that brief, on that concept that has been agreed. In design development stage, we basically develop the concept, we take it to the next stage, to the next level. There's more detail, you get your 3D visuals, if you agree on them, then the design is taken on to the technical side where the designer puts together all your drawing package, all your specification sheets. So you should have all of this together at the end of the development stage. Also, it is important that the drawing package in this stage is detailed enough for the suppliers and the contractors to read off, and the designer needs to be super 100%, maybe 99.9% sure that the design is going to work, because based on what is proposed and what is included in the drawing package will basically go on site and will be installed. The fun side of the design development stage is the fact that you actually get to touch and feel and see what the proposal will eventually be like, because at this stage the designer always provides either a sample board or maybe loose samples. Installation phase. Now, this is probably the most time consuming and annoying, well, not annoying, but how do I say this? Painful, just because it involves a lot of people, a lot of liaising between designers, contractors, architects, building surveyors, health and safety. It is quite technical. It is a beautiful stage when you get to go to site and see the design being built. It has got a lot of uncomfortable moments. Now, to be honest, it really depends on the client and designer relationship in this stage, because the designer could be there for most of the time, it could be full involvement, but at the same time it could be just an additional support, so the designer would just kind of pop in here and there just to ensure that the design has been implemented correctly and as proposed. And as the building process continues and changes are always made, it should be the designer's responsibility to update the drawing package. End of the project, once everything is handed over, the designer should issue as built drawing package, so that stays with the client for any future reference. Obviously, enough time should be allowed for all these interim meetings while the project is going on, but also allow time for the final meeting for any snagging processes that should be carried out after the handover. And very important thing that you should allow for is collecting any sort of marketing material that you might need later on. This is videos, photos, client feedback, supplier feedback, contractor feedback. All of this is what you will take from that project and carry on with you to promote your business and promote your services, and eventually to show the value of your work. Now, the real question: how much should you charge, or how much should a designer charge? Well, now that we know how much work is involved and we all understand that it's a lot of effort, a lot of time, let's break it down and see how much money we can put next to each service. Now, it really depends on the designer or the design house if you're working with a bigger company, but I truly believe that it really all comes down to your hourly fee. So to come up with your perfect hourly fee, let's break it down once again. And the most simplest way to start is to really look at what is the minimum wage in your country, in your area at the moment. So keep that number in mind. Then move on and do some research and find out how much a designer of your level, of your experience, is earning annually. Then break it down to daily rate or hourly rate. Do some maths, use a calculator, I don't know. Just figure that out and keep that figure in mind as well. Now, once you've got those two figures, look at what this project is actually going to cost you. Look at the specific costs for this project, as well as your general running your business type of costs. So this includes anything like rent, bills, internet, fuel, travel expenses, software that you use, or any equipment that you are paying for. in order to get this project where it needs to be. So with all of those expenses in mind, think about what do you really need to put aside each month in order to pay all of this off or to pay all of it back. So write that figure down as well. Now you've got 3 different kinds of figures and costs. It should give you a sort of a guidance of what your hourly fee should be and what it should include. Now, take all the time that you have allocated for each stage of the design process. Do some maths there. You got your final number. Great. Add 20% on top of it. Why? Because you are a good citizen and you are going to pay your tax. And the taxman takes 20% off all of your earnings. So be smart and don't just stick with the fee that you've come out with, but add 20% on top of it, because it's just not fair. You should be getting all your money and taxman should be getting some money as well. Well, whatever works, but add 20% on top of that. So now again, you've got this sort of number in mind on paper, which sort of makes sense, but what we're gonna do now is we are going to add another 10% on top of the whole cost. Why? Well, because unfortunately, in real life, people, how do I say this, like to get stuff for cheaper than it actually costs. I can definitely tell you that 99% of the time, your proposed fees are going to be up for discussion. It's how life works. So in order to get what you are really worth, put that extra 10% on top of everything, because then when it gets to the negotiating process, you can sort of say, right, well, I'm going to take 5% off, see what they say, then you can take another 5% off. So this is now twice that you have offered to lower your costs. And even if then they want to go even lower than that, then how can I say this in a nice way? Lose it. Lose their clients, say goodbye, shake hands, wave and smile, and just walk away, because you should know your worth. And I know times are hard, and I know you are struggling to maybe get that portfolio. Trust me, I've been in that situation. I am still in that situation. I still have to really fight for what my fees are and what my worth is. So I really advise you to really just stick with it and stick with your gut and know your worth. So not to go into too much of a rant, we love our clients, we really do, and we love our job, we love what we do. So let's just all be friends and pay each other what we are worth. Okay. So yeah, there you go. At the end, you got your perfect fee. Make sure there's a lot of terms and conditions included regarding the payments and all that. If you want to hear more about that side of design fees, let me know down in the comments or message me privately if you wish to speak one-to-one. I'm always here, I'm always listening. And that wraps up today's video, really. I hope that this has been useful. I hope that you can implement this in your workflow. And if you are looking for a designer, I really hope that you now understand how much work is put into all of this design business and why it costs what it costs. Everyone just wants to get paid. You know, we got bills to pay, we got mouths to feed, we got holidays to go to, we got life to live. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments what other topics you would like me to cover. If you got any questions relating to design fees, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm right there. I'm listening. I'm replying to every direct message or DM that pops into my mailbox. So yeah, if I don't see you there, then I'll see you in the next video. Bye.